So after a very mixed season of Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead has returned with Season 10, Episode 1 titled Lines We Crossed. Now, if you have not seen this episode and you plan on seeing it and you don't get anything spoiled for you, don't watch this review. Watch the episode first, then come back and watch this because I'm going to be discussing all spoilers throughout this episode. So if you haven't seen this episode and you want to, you've been warned. I was so glad to see The Walking Dead return. Like, I think it was end of March instead of April when it left last year, just before Game of Thrones. And as I know, Game of Thrones was kind of rubbish this season, as well as the last season. Fear the Walking Dead, it was kind of rubbish as well. So we've had this big long gap from the amazing season 9 of The Walking Dead. As you can see, I've got it up here on Blu-ray. But like, it's such an amazing season to go into a pretty crappy season of Game of Thrones into another even worse season of Fear the Walking Dead. So it's been kind of a real stale summer, but now that the fact that The Walking Dead is back, I just feel so much better. I'm so glad it's back. And this episode itself wasn't an amazing episode, like it wasn't one of the best episodes, but also wasn't one of the worst. It was a good introduction to this season. There was elements to it that I really enjoyed, and it was good just to really recap with these characters again, because I haven't actually watched, I haven't watched any actually Walking Dead since the season 9 finale, so I've been waiting for the Blu-ray to come up so I could rewatch the entire season, because I absolutely loved season 9. But since then, I haven't actually watched The Walking Dead, so it's good to it was a good refresher and just a recap to know where everyone is and how everyone's getting on. So this episode was really good for that. So the episode kicks off. We kind of get like a big, huge training sequence on the beach where it's all the huge people training, and even have Judith in there. So to see them training, I don't know, like they never actually say if it's for the Whisperers or they're just training to become better fighters. But I'm assuming it's a bit of both. But to see them actually kind of working, and they have a kind of a whole strategy there. When they have shields having block it was pretty interesting to see, and as well being able to see Aaron step into the forefront, and he's becoming more of like a leader as well as he seemed like a general. It seemed like watching that clip there, I kind of got the glimpse that he was going to be taking Dwight's storyline of being the general of the military, because I don't think Daryl will be the general, but this whole thing was happening on the beach, which was the Oceanside, so it was good to see Oceanside, because I don't think, from memory, we didn't see Oceanside in season 9. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like we've seen characters since then, but we haven't actually seen it since like season 8. I think it was the middle of season 8 was when we last seen Oceanside. So it was good to go back there again, and it was good to see that actually men live there now, because as you know, the Oceanside, all the men got killed. So to see that there's some men living there and working there, it was a bit cool to see. But Michonne brought Judith and RJ, and then Jerry brought his kids, and they're all playing around, and they brought all the stuff like shells and everything back from the beach, and they emptied out the bucket, and Judith notices that inside RJ's bucket was a Whisperer mask, and then everyone goes all suspenseful. They contact back Alexandria like, oh my god, the Whisperers are back, and they Aaron's overreacting. Michelle's like, no, calm down. And it was good to see, because like I was kind of thinking it from Michelle's perspective, but I also seen it from Aaron's perspective. He was like, oh, it means they're back. But Michelle's like, no, it doesn't. This could have happened anytime. We don't know when. Like, I was saying, like, of course, a Whisperer mask will give them the fear that they're back, but it also makes sense, like, just because they found one now does not mean it happened recently. It could have been a year ago or 6 months ago. We don't know when this mask actually went there. So I understand why they're going into panic, but I thought it was a bit rushed, like, oh my god, they're here, we gotta go back into like full lockdown and everything. So I thought that was a bit odd. So then we get a montage of our love square with Eugene, Rosita, Sadiq and Gabriel, and I still don't buy Gabriel and Rosita as in a relationship, not only because the age gap is ridiculous, but they don't really feel like they blend together. It feels like it's very forced. Like, I know last season we didn't really get a lot with them to do. I don't really buy them as a couple. Like, if it was Rosita and Eugene, like it was in the comic books, I get it would be a bit odd for people who've never read the comics, but since I read comics, I understand that they do get together. But I just think it'd be a lot more realistic if they were together rather than Rosita and Gabriel. I just don't really buy that. But we get to see a big montage, and then we see Sadiq, and it looks like they're upstairs in the whole hospital wing, and he's putting the baby to bed. I can't remember her name was Coco, but he's putting her to bed, and he starts getting PTSD flashbacks to the whole scenario inside the barn when everyone gets beheaded. And it was good to see scenes like this. We don't see anyone get beheaded, but we kind of see like Alpha sitting there holding her machete with blood all over it, and you see blood splash everywhere. I think we see a bit of Enid, and I think we seen Henry as well, but we never actually got to see that last season. So to see kind of glimpses of this, it was pretty interesting to actually see that, because I didn't want to see people get their heads chopped off last year like we did with Herschel. Like, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that whole scene rather than just seeing their heads on pikes and then kind of see them fight back a little bit. I would like to see just a small bit more. But we also see that Negan he's not free, but he's allowed out on parole, so he goes out and does all guarding. But there's a guy behind him who will come into it a lot more this season. But he's kind of, so he's able to do guard. He's just be able to get out of his prison, which is good. So I enjoyed Negan a lot last season, but I kind of want Negan just to go back to being a bit more of a badass Negan. So once the whole Whisperer War starts, I cannot wait to see how Negan turns out to be. I hope he goes like he was in the comics. There's a big comic event happening that should be close to the mid-season premiere finale, but I hope Negan does what he does in the comics. I think that'd be the best possible outcome to see what happens there. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm pretty sure Sadiq said Dante, but I'm not 100% sure. But that doctor, he kind of let off a Dante vibe. Like, he kind of felt like the comic character, but I'm not 100% sure if he said Dante or not, because I kind of like thought I heard it, but I wasn't sure. But anyways, I think maybe we got introduced to Dante tonight, but I'm not really sure on that. But as well, then we're gonna go back over to the ocean side, and we see, I think it was Daryl and Ezekiel. They were waiting for Carol to come in, and I just feel so bad for Ezekiel at this stage, because you can tell their relationship falling apart between Ezekiel and Carol. It wasn't Ezekiel, it was Carol that just couldn't do it anymore. And you can tell they both still care for each other, but you can tell that she just doesn't want to be around him anymore. Like, when they're talking, you could tell that she just was waiting for the opportunity to leave and go over to Daryl. I just felt so bad for Ezekiel, because you can tell he's just so sad and lonely. He just wants Carol, but she's just gone. But to see Daryl and Carol, it's absolutely brilliant. People still want them to be in a relationship, but at this stage, I think it'd be really weird and forced if they got together, just because I think they're just best mates at this stage. It'd be really weird if they start going out. But they are really kind of foreshadowing Daryl and Connie. Like, he says that the dog likes him more. You see, I think they highlighted in Daryl's back pocket he had the American Sign Language, so he's clearly wants to learn sign language so he can communicate with her a lot better. So I think they really are setting the groundwork for a relationship there, and I really buy it. I think as soon as they got introduced last season when they were helping each other, I really believe that they will get together eventually. I think she's the perfect girl to get with Daryl, and all these other people. Like, people used to want Bet. I would never have thought that would have worked with Daryl, but Connie seems like a perfect match for Daryl. And we get to see Daryl and Carol play some kind of game, like, oh, let's see who can kill the most walkers. And as they're doing that, they see a wounded deer. Carol goes to shoot it, but it's actually past Alpha's border. So Daryl's like, don't leave it. We can't get it. Leave it for the walkers. And she's like, it's just a border. We never agreed to this. I'm not leaving. That's going to feed 200 people. And he's like, just leave it there. And the only reason they had that scene there was for when they actually have to cross over the border later on this episode to show that big suspense. Like, they were not crossing this border for a reason. So to do this now, it is very dangerous, and like, it can cause a war by them just crossing this border that they do not want to do. But the reason they do cross it over was, and I was completely shocked by this, it was a crashed satellite. Like, in all of 192, 93 issues, we never seen anything like that in the comics. I never thought of anything like that happening. But to see it, I was actually kind of really pleasantly surprised to see something like this happen. So when the satellite crashes, they all actually run over, because of course it's starting a huge forest fire. So they all go in and try to stop it, and like, they do stop it, but they're all very worried. Like, okay, we have to get out of here as fast as we can before Alpha and Eugene's like, no, I need this. We can use this. We need the satellite. So like, and Michonne's like, no. He goes, all I need is 20 minutes. He goes, no, you can't. He goes, 10 minutes. He goes, no. And he goes, 5 minutes. He goes, okay. And then they start to pull the thing away. And then, like, I think his name is Luke. I'm not sure, but the guy from Fantastic Beasts, he comes up and starts talking to Eugene, and Eugene's just like kind of saying as fast as he can to get rid of him. As soon as he walks away, he goes, can't believe he's cutting it to my 5 minutes. And that was probably the funniest line the entire episode, just to see Eugene, because he's one of my favorite characters. I miss him and Abraham's, like, their dynamic they had together, and the way they spoke to each other was absolutely brilliant. I'm disappointed we don't get that anymore, but seeing Eugene just talk to like Luke like that, it's like, just like, I don't care what you have to say, I just need this, I don't have a lot of time, just shut up and let me get this. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But as they're doing this, Michonne's like, where's Carol and Daryl? And we see that Carol and Daryl are actually at the top of that hill where Alpha took Daryl last year, and all the walkers are gone, and they're talking about leaving. And then we see Daryl walks away, Carol stands there, she's just looking out, and all of a sudden Alpha walks out and just kind of breathes in the air, and she looks up and sees Carol, and she just looks so annoyed. And then that was the end of the episode. And see, that's the type of cliffhanger you need. Like, I know in episode, I think it was 7 of Fear the Walking Dead season 5, when Alicia got the walker blood inside her, and I think next couple of minutes, like, I think it was actually the opening scene of the next episode, they said, no, she's okay, don't even worry about it. They're not they're interesting cliffhangers, but they're cliffhangers just to get you to come back for the next episode. The only purpose of that was just to get people to come back for the next episode. But this is a cliffhanger, like where it ends at a suspenseful moment where it didn't need to be resolved in this episode because it didn't, like, the episode wasn't building up to this moment. So, like, it didn't need to be resolved in this episode, and it could be resolved next week. That's the kind of cliffhangers that we need. Like, we got that in the season 9 finale when Ezekiel was on the radio, he left and someone else started talking to him. That's an interesting cliffhanger. Like, it's not a suspenseful and like, oh my god, I need to know now. They're the right kind of cliffhangers that The Walking Dead do. But this Fear the Walking Dead season 5 one is not the right kind of one. That's why I don't mind cliffhangers like these, but the ones like in Fear, I was not impressed with at all. Overall, for what this episode was, I absolutely loved it. It was a great introduction again to how everyone's been and what they've been up to. To see everyone what they're up to now, because there's been a time skip as well since, I think it's probably about the same length of time since we've last seen them. It has moved on in their timeline, so it's been good just to recap where everyone is, to see that Rosita actually had her baby and everything like this. It was just a good recap so we know where we are and everything, and especially after a terrible season of Fear the Walking Dead, this episode was like a breath of fresh air. And I almost forgot to say it, but Walker Kill of the Week goes to Daryl for showing the axe at the tree, the burning down tree, for the tree to collapse and kill all those walkers. Definitely the best Walker Kill of the Week. I don't know how they're going to top it next week. I think I heard rumors that next week's episode is actually a backstory episode for Alpha and Beta, and I'm really excited to see that, just because I want to see more of these characters, because I absolutely love how creepy Beta is, and Alpha, I don't even know how, she's a lot creepier than Beta, even though he's some huge giant opposing force who doesn't take off his mask and talks extremely deep. I can't wait to see what their backstory is. I don't want to get too much ruined for me, especially on Beta's side of things, but I would like a little bit more of how they decide to do the Whisperer aspect. But I don't want everything told. I like to kind of keep some mystery there. But with all that said, let me know your favorite thing about this episode, what you're looking for mostly about next week's episode, and let me know if you are still watching The Walking Dead, because I know a lot of people dropped off in the last couple of years. But with all that said, thanks for watching.